Good morning, everyone. So, one of my favorite stories or pictures, because that's how I see things. Sorry, now everything's unstable. Yeah, sorry. One of my favorite or pictures, or when I read the words in the Bible, especially if it's like a part of a story, it's like a painting that comes alive to me. Just a creative mind. Sorry. Is the story of Jesus' father, Joseph. He was such a I don't know why he wasn't married before, and I don't know why he took so long to get married or that. But I see him as quite a shy, reserved man, and I think he was just as much as Mary was chosen to be Jesus' mother. Joseph was chosen to be Jesus' father, and you can talk about genealogy, and both of their genealogies kind of attached to the bloodline of David and the priesthood and that kind of thing. But Joseph, I think, was this reliable, shy guy. He's a shy guy, quiet and reserved, maybe. And it seems to me that he was. They don't speak a lot about him in the Bible. Sorry, it's that or coughing. But they do mention a few things, and in it, and you can read a lot about who he is from Matthew 1:18 to 25. But two of those verses kind of stand out for me. So it's a whole story about how he finds out that Mary is pregnant, and then in verse 1, Matthew 1, verse 19, he says, "And her husband Joseph, being just a man, and unwilling to put her to shame, resolved to divorce her quietly." So he hears, and his heart must have been a little broken, because now maybe nothing that he touched in his life kind of was shining, and maybe he had brothers and sisters that had these fabulous lives, and their things would work out, and Joseph is kind of, I think, maybe slightly browbeaten into becoming betrothed to Mary, who is a little bit of maybe a feisty, maybe also shy, I don't know, Jewish girl. And maybe he wasn't sure if that's what he wanted, or you never know. You never know Joseph's thing. But it just seems that he kind of was browbeaten into this. Maybe he would have been happy never to marry at all. I'm okay. I like who I am right here. And then he wants to do the right thing, and the right thing is to kind of kick her to the curb and say, because he knows this is not his baby. And he doesn't want to bring shame on the rest of his family. So it's not just him and her, it's about the whole family. But he decides to do something quietly. He decides to honor her even before she gets ridiculed or stoned to death or something like that. He decides this was not a convenient pregnancy for Joseph. This was not what he had planned. This was not what he had hoped for when he was betrothed to this young woman. And so I think he had great disappointment. This is just my opinion. And so he decides not to do the nasty, crappy thing. Sorry. But he decides to be the man that he is. And I think this shows huge character. A man who's disappointed and then could have lashed out and had her disciplined. He just decided to just cancel. And as we know, he didn't. Because then he also got a visit from an angel in the night. And he takes on this burden. And in Matthew 1, verse 24, it says, when Joseph woke up from sleep, he did what the angel of the Lord commanded him. And he took his wife. And you know that he also had to flee to Egypt. So he had to leave the confines of where he lived. He had to leave the safety of his family. And from Bethlehem, he had to flee to Egypt so that his son was not murdered by Herod. And so Joseph, who is not a warrior, he's a carpenter, who's not an adventurer, he's not a merchant, he's not any of these fabulous things. He's really just a carpenter. He is a very strong character. To me, he's one of the strongest characters in the Bible. I think he's awesome. I think his journey, I would love to know more about the journey of his heart. Because that must have been a miracle in itself. Being born into such strong traditions and then having to say, I'm going to do this because my wife, because I like Mary, I love her. She's mine. I was given her. And my God has said this. Also, risking ridicule and pain. So I hope you can see this. I hope you can relate to this. It was not convenient for him to bring up a child that he knew wasn't his. And there must have been questions every now and then. Is it really God? I mean, he was just a man. But he did it anyway. And I think he needs a little bit of mention and a little bit of honor. Think about Joseph. And then think about yourself. Have a wonderful day, and we'll speak again tomorrow.